This Sunday, August 22nd at 5:42 p.m. Eastern, we have the 162nd running of the Queen's Plate here in Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, Ontario. $1 million purse, Canada's richest race. A 13-horse field traveling 1.25 miles on the sweet, sweet Tapeta, our synthetic surface here at Woodbine. And we're pumped up. 15,000 fans will be up at Woodbine. That is the biggest gathering we've had at a racetrack since the pandemic started in March of 2020. And I'm so excited that there's going to be a big group celebrating horse racing here in Canada. But first and foremost, how are we getting paid in this race that I will be attacking with great vigor? Let's get to work. This race has turned into the Attard family picnic. 6 horses will have ties to the Attard family. Kevin Attard, his father Tino Attard, and his uncle Sid Attard. And they're not the only 3 Attards involved in this race. Kevin's son, Joshua Attard, 17-year-old son, is the owner of the morning line favorite, the 8 Keep Grinding. Wow. None of these acclaimed trainers have won the Queen's Plate. So it's a huge day on Sunday for the Attard family. Kevin trains 2021 Woodbine Oaks winner, the filly, the 6 Money 4 Row, morning line 9-2, ridden by Justin Stein. Money 4 Row is the horse that I expect to win the 162nd running of the Queen's Plate. Money 4 Row won the 1.125 Woodbine Oaks in 1 minute 50.31 seconds. Earlier that day, the 11 Avo Man claimed the $150,000 plate trial in 1 minute 52.84 seconds over the same distance and the same course. Money 4 Row is the real deal. 3-year-old Ontario-bred filly, 2 wins from 7 starts, $320,000 in career earnings. The connections for Money 4 Row had to pay a $25,000 supplemental fee for just a chance to run in the $600,000. Well, the winning prize is $600,000, the $1 million Queen's Plate. 37 fillies have won the Queen's Plate. This is not like the Kentucky Derby. We do not shy away up here in Canada from letting the fillies run against the boys. 37 winners have been fillies, all starting back with Brunette back in 1864. But it's not all from back in the day. In 2018, Wonder Godot won the Queen's Plate. 2017, Holy Helena. 2014, Lexi Lou. In 2011, Inglorious. Let's talk about the morning line favorite, the 8 Keep Grinding, owned by Kevin's son, Joshua. Joshua also is not just some, kid that knows nothing about horses. Joshua's owned horses since 2011, and he bought this horse for $13,000 in 2019. And look, we've seen lots of horses with humble beginnings win huge races. We go right back to California Chrome. So just the fact that it was a $13,000 purchase doesn't really play any part for me in this race and judging this horse. Keep Grinding is finished in the money in 3 of 5 lifetime starts. He's coming off a second-place effort in the Grade 3 Marine Stakes on July 11th. It's a very professional horse. He always gives you his best. I expect Keep Grinding to be on the board. I'm going to be using the 8 Keep Grinding in my exactas. But remember, it's so important to get paid out when you're right. You don't go to the horse track needing to win half the races to have a beautiful day. You could win 1 out of every 5 races, but if that race that you win is a big, big score, you're going to have a great day. The wins have to be big. I need a big double-digit shot to put with these two horses. And I think I found it. But let's continue discussing these favorites. The next favorite on the board. Now, the next favorite on the board is 5-1 horse. The one Safe Conduct. Safe Conduct is not an Attard horse. Run 4 of 6 races in its life on turf. He's never run on synthetic. The reason why this 5-1 Safe Conduct is going to be a huge underlay is because the great Irad Ortiz Jr. is flying up from Saratoga to ride this horse. This horse is going to be bet heavy. It's never run on synthetic. I am not going to use Safe Conduct in my action. Safe Conduct is coming off the Belmont Derby. And we were live on Belmont Derby Day, the Grade 1 Belmont Derby. Bolshoi Ballet won that race. And Safe Conduct ran a good race. At the halfway mark, he's third by 1.5 miles. He loses in 7th place, but he's right there, 2 3/4 lengths back at the stretch, moving into the stretch, and then loses by 6 1/4 lengths in 8th place. But that's not a huge loss against Grade 1 competition. But it was on turf. And I am not going to use a horse that's never run on Tapeta, that's run 4 of 6 lifetime races on turf, that's going to have a jockey that will create a huge underlay for this horse. I will not be using Safe Conduct in my action. And Bolshoi Ballet came back to run 4th in the Saratoga Derby, and I didn't use Bolshoi Ballet. I wasn't sold even on the competition of the Belmont Derby. So I am not using the one Safe Conduct. Let's keep going down the line with favorites. The next horse that's going to be taking a lot of money is the horse that Kevin's uncle, Sid, trains, the 7 Riptide Rock, morning line 6-1, coming off an excellent, very high speed figure, but it was just 6 furlongs and just a $75,000 optional claimer. 1.25 miles is a much different race, but it was his first run on Tapeta, and he clearly liked the surface. Riptide Rock was the horse I had a very difficult time trying to figure out in this race. His first race, he broke his maiden first asking, $127,000 maiden race here at Woodbine. It was the only other race at Woodbine, and it was on the turf, and he looked great. And Justin Stein rode him. Justin Stein rode him the last time he was up here. That $75,000 optional claimer on the 16th of July. The 4 races in between, 3 were run at Oaklawn Park, 1 was run at Monmouth, and that Monmouth race was the Jersey Derby, and that was supposed to be run on turf, but it was washed off onto the dirt, and he didn't show anything in that race. Riptide Rock put up the fastest last race speed figure in that 6 furlong race. He closed extremely strong in a 6 furlong race. Will he be able to close again in a 1.25 mile race against better competition? He put up a 95 speed figure. Do we expect a bump? Do we expect a bounce? With a 95 speed figure, I think there's a bounce. I want to see Riptide Rock close or look that strong in a 1.25 mile race. So I cut Riptide Rock from my action. Here is the most important note for this race thus far with what we've been talking about, is that Justin Stein rode all 3 of Keep Grinding, Riptide Rock, and Money for Row last out. He was the jockey on all 3 of these horses. Who is Justin Stein choosing to ride? He's got very close connections with the Attard family. I would be surprised if he wasn't able to choose which Attard horse he was going to ride. He's riding the filly, Money for Row. I believe that is a very crucial point when capping these horses. Attard's other plate horses are the 5 HC Holiday, who came 3rd in the $150,000 Queen's Plate trial. He was the favorite going into that race. The 3 Hadassah, who came third in the Grade 3 Marine Stakes, and Hadassah is a dangerous horse. And the 2 Harlan Estate, morning line 12-1, ridden by the excellent jockey Kazushi Kimura. The 2 Harlan Estate is my double-digit horse that I will be using in my exotic wagers. The 2 Harlan Estate began his career in California as a turf horse under Peter Yurton. He moved up here, joined the Attard barn. Attard added blinkers, and the colt has clearly taken to synthetic. This is a dangerous stalking colt with a great post in the 2 spot. Coming off, this is the 3rd race of the training cycle. The first race was an optional claimer. He loses to Tidal Forces, who we will speak about in a second here, the 12 horse. Tidal Horses, the 12 horse, going off at 12-1 with Emma Jane Wilson riding. He loses to Emma Jane Wilson and Tidal Forces. But then in that race, he beat Keep Grinding, the morning line favorite. Then he comes back and wins in another $75,000 optional claimer, and he beats the 10 horse Dance Some Mo, morning line 12-1. Tidal Forces 12-1 too. And we will talk about those 2 horses here shortly because they're both Samson Farms horses. And that ownership and farm have won 5 Queen's Plates. So I took a very long look at both of those horses. Let's talk about Harlan Estate a little bit more here. I think he'll have no problem with the distance. I love the jockey. I love the 3rd spot in the training routine here. I love when a horse or a trainer like Kevin Attard has a horse like Harlan Estate clearly pointed towards the Queen's Plate. And the 2 races leading up, I felt, were very strong. The first 6 races of the career were run on turf. One was a Grade 3 turf race run in Del Mar on the 29th of November. The other 2 were stakes races at Santa Anita. They were always highly thought of this horse. They always believed in this horse. And I expect Harlan Estate to be in a really nice spot. What could go wrong? Hadassah will want to get out early, and that's the 3 horse. And the 1 Safe Conduct will want to get out early, want to have a very alert break. Could that hurt Harlan Estate? It could, but I expect Harlan Estate to be right there with them and have a really nice spot into the first turn. So I am using Harlan Estate morning line 12-1 as part of my exacta. Let's talk about a couple more horses. The other Kevin Attard, or the Attard's horses, are the 5 HC Holiday, the 11 Avoman, and the biggest point for me in this spot, HC Holiday, the Kevin Attard horse, was the betting line favorite in the $150,000 Queen's Plate trial. But that was a slow race. And I'm cutting those horses that were involved in that race. And Avoman is not an Attard horse. He's out of the Donald McRae barn. But I'm cutting those 3 horses because I question the competition. I question the time. I question everything about that race. And that helps. In a 13 race field, I'm cutting now the 5 HC Holiday, the 11 Avoman, and the 13 Dursky. Cutting those 3 horses, and Avoman's at 8-1. It's a nice spot to be able to cut him. HC Holiday 15-1, Dursky is at 30-1. So I'm cutting those 3 horses, and then I'm cutting the 1, as I said already, Safe Conduct, who I think will be a big underlay, and I'm trying for a big score. So I'm cutting the Irad Ortiz horse, Safe Conduct. So let's move on a little bit here. We move on to the 2 Samson Farm horses. Outside posts that they'll have to overcome. Now, you get a long enough straightaway out of the gate to the turn doesn't come so early that you're completely screwed, but you have to think, coming from the 10th and the 12th post, that you're going to be running possibly anywhere between 3 and 5 horses wide around that first turn, and that hurts. We will start with the 10 Dance Some Mo from trainer Graham Motion at 12-1. He just lost to the 2 Harlan's Estate in a $75,000 optional claimer. The other Samson Farms colt is the 12 Tidal Forces, who beat Harlan's Estate as the favorite. And Keep Grinding He beat Harlan's Estate and Keep Grinding in a $75,000 optional claimer before losing to the 4 Keep Grinding in the Grade 3 Marine in July 21st. I took a long time looking at Tidal Forces. I watched the Grade 3 Marine over and over again, and I thought that Tidal Forces had no excuse for his poor showing in that race. I truly felt that he should have fired in that 6-horse field. Emma Jane Wilson was the jockey in the Grade 3 Marine. The difference between those two races is that in the first race that Tidal Forces ran against tough competition here, the optional claimer, 75K that won, he came out in 6th spot, 7th, then 6th, and then pounced. When he lost in the Marine, he went right out to the lead. So that tells me that Emma Jane Wilson is not going to want to put Tidal Forces right into the lead. If you don't force that, not only are you going to need racing luck to get through horses, but you could be running 3 or 4 wide. That concerns me. If Emma Jane Wilson believes that Tidal Forces is going to be stronger, if it's held back a little bit from the start, it's going to need a lot of things to go this colt's way to be in the winner's circle at the end of the race. So I am cutting Tidal Forces. I think the 12 Tidal Forces and the 7 Riptide Rock were difficult cuts. I enjoyed cutting the 1 Safe Conduct because I believe it will be an underlay. There you have it. I will be exacta boxing the 2 Harlan State at 12-1, the 6 Money for Row at 9-2, and the 8 Keep Grinding at 4-1. I will put these 3 in an exacta box. I will make a small trifecta box with those 3, but it will be small. I will be putting most of my cash on the exacta box, and then I will be betting the filly Money for Row with Justin Stein in the irons. I will be betting the filly Money for Row to win this race. Money for Row out of Munnings. It's Batestown. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot, I believe, for Money for Row. And there you have it. The 162nd running of the Queen's Plate. I will tweet out my tickets on Sunday, but that is the plan, barring scratches. Again, exacta box, 2, 6, 8, small trifecta box, small, and then taking the 6 Money for Row to win another filly to win the 162nd running of the Queen's Plate. Join us all day Saturday. All day Saturday, we're going to be hammering Saratoga and Del Mar. All day Saturday, horse racing action. And we love our horse racing action at Pub Sports Radio. Catch Razor Sharp Pick Show on Wednesday and Thursday evenings as well. Let's get this money, baby. Sunday, 5:42 p.m. Eastern. The Queen's Plate. The Queen's Plate. Get that cash.